what I want to do in today's stream is I want to start working on another power setup, another kind of multi-mod big power setup, right? We got this thing over here. We got our arboreal extractors producing resin. We got that being pumped over into our compression dynamos, producing power. I haven't moved the empowerer yet, but we will move that to a new location at some point pretty soon. But the reason we have the empowerer is because in the last stream, we made that leaf-eating generator, right? And what I want to do today is I want to set up a system that allows us to put that leaf-eating generator to the use and generate power by eating an ever-increasing number of leaves, right? And as I mentioned a little bit in the previous stream, I want to combine that with the Steve's Carts mod to get us a Steve's Carts tree farm that is also going to produce leaves, of course, as part of the trees, and then have the leaf-eating generators destroy the leaves, producing power, and then pumping it back into our system, much like we do with the resin setup over there. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cart assembler, because for those who don't know, with Steve's Carts, you first have to make a custom minecart, which will do custom things depending on which upgrades you put into the cart, and then to actually make the cart takes a considerable amount of real-world time, right? Like, you'll put all the parts in the cart, and depending on how complex the cart is, it can take anywhere from like a couple of minutes to over an hour for the cart assembler to physically assemble the cart, which is kind of crazy. But if we do it at the start of the stream here, hopefully by about an hour in, we will actually have a cart that we are able to use. And thankfully, I do have some other stuff that we need to set up before we can use the cart. And so it works out quite nicely for us. And so to make the cart assembler, it's 3 iron ingots, 4 chiseled stone, and then 2 simple PCBs. Fairly easy to make, 4 redstone, 4 iron, and 1 gold. All stuff that we do have. We're going to make quite a lot of these in today's stream because you need them for basically everything in Steve's Carts. So I think for the time being, it doesn't really matter where we put this thing down. We probably won't be making too many carts over the course of the series. The first thing we have to make is the cart, right? And there are multiple different carts that we can choose from. And I think instead of actual cart, it's called hull. There are a few different hulls that we can choose from. There is the standard hull, the wooden hull, the reinforced hull, the mechanical pig hull, which I've never used, the creative hull, which of course we can't get, and then the Galgadorian hull, which is prohibitively expensive. It's a very expensive hull to make, requiring a lot of stuff that we don't really have the means to get just yet. And so really for us, I think it's between the standard hull and the reinforced hull. Now, normally I do go with the standard hull. However, one of the add-ons that we're going to make is the tree... Is it called chopping? What is it called here? It's called like tree farming. Maybe it's called like wood cutting. Actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, it's the wood cutting upgrade. And there are 4 different tiers to the wood cutting upgrade as well. There was the, there were 3 different tiers to the wood cutting upgrade as well. There's the basic woodcutter, the hardened woodcutter, and then the Galgadorian woodcutter. Eventually, I would like this system to work with the Galgadorian woodcutter because the Galgadorian woodcutter is unbreakable. You can't break it, right? You can just put it down, set it, and forget it, and the tree farm will run forever, which is great. But as I mentioned before, the Galgadorian metal is a little bit more on the expensive side, requiring some Eyes of Galgador, gas tears, fermented spider eyes, Eyes of Ender, all that kind of good stuff, which makes it a little bit more expensive, but not crazy expensive. We could definitely get this somewhat soon, I think. But for now, I think I'm going to go with the hardened woodcutter. And the hardened woodcutter does also require that we go with the hardened hull, the reinforced hull here. We can't put a hardened woodcutter onto a standard hull, and so we're going to go ahead and make this. This is made with 5 reinforced metal and then 2 reinforced wheels, which you guessed it, are made with yet more reinforced metal and some iron ingots. The reinforced metal is made with iron, and then this refined hardener, which is made by smelting together 4 obsidian and 1 diamond. So thankfully, we have got our automatic obsidian generation over here, so now we can go ahead and just grab a couple of stacks worth of obsidian. And I'm fairly certain that we should have quite a few diamonds. We do indeed. We got 100 diamonds right now, ready and raring to go. And so hopefully, getting quite a large amount of this reinforced metal here shouldn't really be too hard for us to do. We need 7 to make the hull. I think I'll try and make like 16, just because of the fact that we need it for other parts of the cart as well. And then also, you'll see we also need it here for the hardened mesh. We need to get more of this hardener. So I'm going to go ahead and make like maybe 32 raw hardener and then smelt all of that up in our diamond furnace here, which should make fairly light work of it, all things considered. Should smelt that up nice and quickly. And then once those are done, I think we're pretty much good to go. That's not going to take us too much more effort to get this hull underway. The other thing that we're going to need is a coal engine. The coal engine here is going to allow our cart to actually move. Unlike normal minecarts, you can't make them run just on like tracks. You can't make them run just on like redstone tracks that are powered. You actually have to provide some form of fuel to the cart to allow it to move. There are a few different engines that you can put in there. There is the coal engine. There is the solar engine, which would run off of solar power. Unfortunately, we are stuck in a cave and thus cannot use a solar engine, at least to the best of my knowledge. If we were to build this in the mining dimension, then maybe we could go ahead and use a solar engine. But I find for the most part, due to the fact that the trees obviously grow over the cart, while it kind of does work, there are cases where sometimes the cart will just, like, you'll get unlucky where the trees grow and the cart will stop just because it's not getting enough sun regularly enough because it's covered by trees. And so, for the most part, given that you can turn wood into coal or charcoal even to then power the coal engine itself, I usually find it easier to just go ahead and make the coal engine when it comes to Steve's Cart's tree farms. These things as well, fairly easy. 2 pistons, 1 furnace, and then 5 more iron ingots, all of which should be pretty easy for us to do. I'm going to go ahead and make like 16 pistons, not because we need them right now, but because I don't want to have to keep making them over and over and over again every time that we need them. Also, apparently there's a thermal engine over here as well, which I assume requires something like lava to provide power, which is also quite interesting and maybe something we could have looked into doing. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and craft up our coal engine like so. And for now, we can just go ahead and, we can't put that in there until we have a hole that it is capable of fitting into. What we can do is grab all of our refined hardener, head on back over here, and I think that should be pretty much everything we need, right? So let's go ahead and craft up a few of these if we have them. Let's also go ahead and craft up that's everything, right? So we can go ahead and grab that, and then can we get like, can we get one more? I think 15 would be a nice number for us to have, maybe. Let's see here. So we'll take you. Hopefully we've got enough iron bars. We do. Nice. And then give me another 5 of these stabilized metal real quick. And then let's throw those in the furnace, ready to craft up. So, we got our 15 reinforced iron. Let's not drop that on the floor. Instead, let's take it back over to the storage scanner. So hopefully that should be everything we need to make ourselves 2 lots of reinforced wheels. And then finally, our reinforced hull, which we will go ahead and throw into our cart assembler in the top left here. You'll see that opens up all of the other slots for engines, tools, attachments, storage, and add-ons. And right now, you'll see right now it takes 5 seconds to assemble this cart. The cart is very basic. It doesn't actually do anything. It's just a vanilla minecart, essentially, that looks different. However, if we throw in a coal engine, allow it to be powered, you'll see it now takes 1 minute and 40 seconds. If we were then to go ahead and add something like a chest, I believe you want to add I think it's a top chest is what we want to add. There are a few different chests that you can get from Steve's Carts. If I go to @Steve's Carts here, you'll see that you can have side chests, you can have a top chest, or you can have a front chest. Now, the chest, or you can have an internal storage chest as well, I guess, actually. But the chest that you end up picking will depend on what you want your cart to do. For example, I know that I'm going to put a woodcutter into my cart, and the woodcutter, I believe, takes up a front slot on the cart. And so if I was to try and put in both a hardened woodcutter and a front chest, they would clash and therefore wouldn't work because the front slot is already being taken up by the woodcutter. There's no space there for the chest. And so, you know what? We'll go ahead and make this thing first. It's a little expensive, but not so much so. It requires 1 advanced PCB surrounded by saplings. You then craft that up with 5 sword blades, which are made with iron and diamonds. And so it's a little expensive if you try and make it in the early game, but once you've got your automation up and running, it's really not quite so bad. Again, I'm going to make a few of these PCBs just so we have them ready to go and we don't have to keep crafting them every single time a recipe calls for them. And I'll make like a few of these advanced PCBs as well, just for the same reason. That's going to get us our first basic woodcutter as soon as we do something like that. Do I really not have saplings in here? Really? I've got, I just don't have enough oak saplings is what you're telling me. I need to replace these with like these saplings, dark oak saplings. That makes sense, I guess. And then we'll pull that out. Nice. Okay, then give me a basic woodcutter. And then it shouldn't be really too much for us to upgrade that to a hardened woodcutter like so. Nice. So we'll throw that in. You'll see that that drastically increases the assembly time. It goes from 1 minute and 41 seconds up to 42 minutes and 15 seconds. That's a crazy increase in the amount of time taken to assemble this cart. And as far as I'm aware, there isn't a way to speed this up. Like, you can't make this process any faster. It just takes 42 minutes of like real world time to assemble this cart. Like, I don't think there's any way you could speed that up without going into creative mode and cheating it in. But anyway, the next thing we're going to want to get is, of course, that top chest. The top chest, again, is a little crafty, but not too bad. It requires all of these huge chest planes and then normal chest panes. Chest panes? Yeah, chest panes, not chest planes. Go to your doctor if you do have chest pains, because they are usually not a good sign, especially if you are older. And then we need, like, what, 6 of these? And then 2 of those, as well as a chest lock, which actually isn't too bad. Craft all those together, and bish bash bosh, you got yourself a top chest. Nice. So we can throw that in as well. You can see it does appear visually on the cart. Top chest not really adding much to the complexity. In fact, it somehow takes away it adds 13 seconds of total time now. I thought for some reason it was taking it away, but that's because I was taking it out there. And then I think finally, the last thing that I want in here is an advanced furnace. Now, the advanced furnace is a really cool add-on. And I think if I go to @Steve's carts, let me see if I can find it here real quick. I think it's this one. The advanced smelter is what I'm after. There is a normal smelter and then an advanced smelter, but it's a really nifty item because it lets you automatically, using the power from the coal generator, smelt items that are inside of the cart. So with our cart, we're setting up a tree farm. That tree farm is going to harvest the wood from the oak trees that we plant, or any kind of trees that we plant, as well as the saplings and the apples. Everything's going to go into the cart. And then what we can do is, if we have an advanced smelter in the cart already, it will we can tell it to take the oak wood automatically from that top chest, smelt it up, and then put it back into the coal engine, like essentially allowing it to run itself, right? Essentially, with the advanced smelter, we can have the cart run forever until the durability of the tree cutter runs out, by essentially just powering itself using the wood that it cuts down. Really cool stuff, especially given that we're not really interested in the wood. We're not setting up this tree farm as a way to generate oak wood. We're setting up the tree farm as a way to generate leaves for our leaf-eating generator to generate power, right? So this thing actually works out really nicely for us. And to make it, we need 1 more of those advanced PCBs, which we have already made, a diamond, 2 simple PCBs, and a regular smelter, which again, PCB and furnace, all of that stuff really shouldn't be too hard for us to do. And again, this is going to be one of those items, I think, that kind of bumps up the time it takes to assemble to a whopping 57 minutes and 59 seconds. But I think that that's everything we need. I think that's all that we need right here. The complexity cap is 150. Our current complexity is 128, I think. Is that how that works? Complexity cap 150, whole complexity 500. I'm not quite sure, but I think that's good. I think that's what we need. And so all we have to do now is actually place coal into the cart assembler, and we can begin assembling this thing. So it's probably going to make more sense for us to grab something like a hopper and just place that hopper down filled with coal next to the cart assembler, because the cart assembler is probably going to chew through a couple of stacks of coal throughout the course of the next 57 minutes whilst it makes itself. So how many stacks worth of coal do we have? We got 3,286 coal. That should be more than enough for the time being. I'm going to do a bit of an inventory clear here because we really don't need to be carrying all of this trash around with us all of the time. And then once that's a little bit cleared up, let's grab just a couple of stacks worth of coal. We'll throw all those into the hopper, which should hopefully automatically push that through into the cart assembler. Really? Does that not work? Do I have to keep putting this in manually? Oh boy, try the acceleration one on it, maybe. That's a good idea. I have a feeling that it won't work, but if it does work, that's actually really quite nice. As I mentioned before, it doesn't really matter because I do need to do other things before this is ready. But let's give it a go. So I'll put the coal in there. I really thought you could feed coal in with a hopper, but apparently that's just not the case, and it just doesn't work. But anyway, if we click assemble, it's going to close itself up, and it's going to start the 58-minute timer. Let's see here. Does this work? No, 57:22. It would seem the acceleration wand. Maybe 56, 50. Wait, does this work? 55. I don't think it works. No, 55. Maybe the hopper only works from above. I can try moving the hopper if that's a thing. Does this work? Hold on. Am I losing? Hold on. Fast, faster, fastest. Like, obviously, just time in general is passing, which kind of throws it off. But I think that actually is working, because I don't think it's been 2 minutes since I did that. Like, I think the acceleration one does actually work at speeding up the cart assembler. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, it definitely does work. You can see we've only got 47 minutes left now, and it definitely has not been 10 minutes since I placed down the cart assembler. That's insane. Yeah, that definitely does work. 18%, and then if we do this for like a few seconds, you can see it's up to 20%. Yeah, that definitely works. That's crazy. Does it burn through the... Oh, it does also burn through the coal quite quickly as well. That is also kind of crazy. Huh. Okay. Well, I'm going to leave that there for now because, as I said, I've got other stuff that I want to do before the cart assembler is ready. Like, I don't need it for another 40 minutes. And so I'll do my other stuff. And if we get done early, we can come over and use the acceleration one to kind of rapidly finish this off if needs be. I will very quickly here just test to see if we can pump things in from the top, even though I thought you could pump things in from the side, but apparently that works. Cool. Okay. We'll pump in from the top then. I guess we'll throw that there. And eventually this will be done and ready for us to go. Turn wireless power on. Wireless power should be on. Like, wireless charging there is on. I'm not quite sure why my wand is not charging. I definitely think that it should be. The only reason it wouldn't be is, of course. The reason why it's not is because when we put down the empowerer in that room over there, we actually got rid of the flux point that was on it. This guy right here, the flux plug that is. We got rid of the flux plug, and so right now no power is being pumped into our flux network. We can fix that fairly easily here. I don't know if I really want to get rid of the empowerer, because I think I am going to need that in today's stream, although I guess we can always put it back down as and when we need it. For now, let's just go ahead and get that back online and get that pumping redstone flux back into the system, and you can see instantly my acceleration wand is being charged again, which is nice. So now that that is being taken care of, the next thing that I want to work on in today's session that is to do with the same thing. We're still trying to get this normal setup going for the leaf-eating generator. The next thing I want to work on is a little bit of Botania. We haven't started really with Botania at all in this pack yet, but it is essential to my plan working, right? Because one of the limiting factors to the tree farm is how fast the trees can grow. And one of the things that Botania can do quite well through the agri-carnations is grow things faster if provided with mana. And as I mentioned before, we can use the fuel from our tree farm. You know, we can use the charcoal generated from the wood from our tree farm to power some endo flames to produce mana to then speed up the rate at which trees grow. Because again, we're not trying to keep that wood. We're trying to really just use as much of that wood as possible so it doesn't back up the system and generate as many leaves as possible so that we can have a laser show of leaf-eating generators take down all of the leaves and produce just a butt ton of power for us, right? So that's the plan. And so to do that, we need to get started with a little bit of Botania. Thankfully, I think we've got a couple of black lotus flowers. We've got 32. So that should make our entry into Botania quite a bit easier. How many floral flowers do we have? Not a ton. We do have 43 black floral powder, so I'll take that. We'll also grab some bone meal so we can get ourselves some more of that floral fertilizer. And of course, the first thing that we're going to have to make today is a petal apothecary. This is going to allow us to make those flowers from Botania. Hopefully, really, we don't have any petals whatsoever. I guess in that case, we'll just go ahead and throw down one of you. Give me a petal apothecary. And then we really need to find a place to do this. I guess for now, I'll do it over here by this grass that we just have lying about. We don't really need this grass here anymore. We can probably get rid of it at some point. But for now, we'll throw this down like here. I'll also get rid of these ground traps. I don't think these are necessary, although they have attracted a couple of ducks, a turkey, a cow, and a chicken by the looks of it. We'll take all those down. Excuse me. This is an energetic sheep from the energetic sheep mod. Is this a dangerous sheep, or is this a sheep that is of no threat to my safety? Like, this looks like it could be a dangerous sheep, but I could be wrong. Let me go get a bucket real quick so we can set up an unlimited water source and then begin to generate some flowers from Botania. We actually don't really need to do all that much in the way of Botania work. All that we really need to get here is a bunch of endo flames, right? We need enough endo flames, and also I guess actually the agri-carnations, which can be a little expensive. We want to get quite a few of these guys, and to make these we do have to get ourselves it's in the Petal Apothecary. We do need a Rune of the Spring, which means we are going to have to get the Runic Altar, which means we are going to have to do all that kind of jazz to get this stuff up and running, but it shouldn't be too bad. That's all stuff that should be fairly easy for us to do. So let's see here. Let me grab a bucket. I'll grab the bucket of water, that just makes sense. Let's get our unlimited water source up and running, and let's start with some basic Botania, shall we? And we should probably make actually a flower pouch so we can store all of those flowers without clogging up our inventory to no end. And so let's see here. Flower pouch should be nice and easy to make. It is just 4 wool or 5 wool and 1 petal. We should still have a petal here. We do indeed. Give me a nice floral pouch. Really, we don't have any wool in the system. That is easily rectified with a little bit of string crafting. Give me one of those. Nice. And so now we can go ahead and throw all of these in like so. And then the first thing I think I'm going to do here is just craft essentially almost all of our black powder into floral fertilizer so we can get a nice diverse amount of flowers. Because if we look at the recipe for the endo flame, for example, we need to get a bunch of different color petals. You know, we need brown, we need red, we need gray. If we look at the agri-carnation, we need lime green, we need normal green, we need yellow. We need quite a few different colors of petal to get this show on the road. So let's just go ahead and throw this down here and collect some flowers, shall we? Electric wool gives RF to machines, either directly or you can collect large amounts with electric shears. Really? So like if you shear... Hold on, I might try this. If you shear the wool, you can then put the wool into a machine or right-click on a machine with the wool and it will provide that machine with power? Is that correct? Let's see here. I want to try this. Do we need the at electric... That's not where you type that in. It's down here. At shear? It's this one right here, right? Do we need the energetic shears to do that? They're not so expensive. Right-click the machine with the wool. Really? Hold on. I need to test this. So give me some energetic shears, please. Is this different wool? Oh, it's energetic wool. So do you have to kill the energetic sheep to get the energetic wool, or can I shear the energetic sheep with normal shears and get energetic wool? Oh, that totally worked. So that gave me energetic wool. I guess we want to kind of keep as much of that as possible so we can craft the energetic shears. What do the energetic shears do? Launches magical shears. But this wool in general here, just having this will allow us to provide power to machines? That's crazy. Can you place that directly into like the this thing here, the energy cell? Like if we have an empty energy cell, can you just right-click the sheep thing into it? I'm going to disconnect this real quick. I want to see if this works. Oh, that totally works. You are correct. 707.19 up to 707. Oh, okay, so that did work. It did add 537 redstone flux. That's really cool. That is super cool, actually. So how do you go about obtaining said sheep? Like, how do you go about getting the electric sheep? Like, we've got one in our base here. Did that spawn naturally? Did someone bring that to us? Like, did they spawn on just the grass here? If I go to the mining dimension, which is all grass, are we likely to find a few of these? Because look like that's super cool. I would really like to get a big old sheep farm full of energetic sheep that we can then harvest and just have like a clicker or something, like a mechanical user even, just kind of right click continuously onto an energy cube, you know, one of these, what are they called again? One of these energy cells, just right-clicking onto the energy cell over and over again, pumping in wool power. That would be really cool. They spawn naturally, but they don't spawn in the mining dimension. Really? So we have to do them. We have to have grass here for them to spawn. That's interesting. That's really interesting. And if I was to grab, like if I used a safari net, and by that I mean a mob imprisonment tool, is that what it's called now? If I was to grab the mob imprisonment tool from Industrial Foregoing, and I was to capture this sheep and then use a spawner, could I then infinitely spawn energetic sheep? Don't they turn back to normal sheep after multiple shearings? Really? So we'd have to set up like a system that somehow separates out the normal sheep from the energetic sheep and then kills them and keeps spawning more energetic sheep? Interesting. Okay. I'll have to have a tinker with it and think about it, but that's not the point of today's stream. The point of today's stream is getting some Botania works set up here. So the next thing we're going to need to get is the runic altar, this guy right here. To make that, we need to get some living rock. And to get the living rock, we need to get ourselves a pure daisy, which is made in the petal apothecary with 4 white flowers. Thankfully, we have 4 white petals right there. And so if we head on back over here and grab ourselves just 1 regular Minecraft seed, I'm pretty sure any seed will work here, but we're going to use a regular Minecraft seed for the time being. Throw that into the petal apothecary. That's going to go ahead and give us the pure daisy, which, if we then throw down, like so, we can surround with stone, which we're going to have to pull from our system, and that will slowly, over time, over the course of about 1 minute, I say slowly, that will very quickly, over the course of about 60 seconds, turn the 8 stone surrounding the pure daisy into living rock. We can, of course, do the same thing with wood. Again, any kind of log will work to create living wood, or at least any kind of vanilla wood. I'm not quite sure how well modded woods work, but also, if we want to make the runic altar, we are going to have to get ourselves a mana diamond or a mana pearl. I'm not quite sure how our ender pearl situation is right now. I think we have a few of them, but we definitely have more diamonds than ender pearls. So we'll take a diamond for now. We do need to make ourselves a mana pearl. My brain today. We do need to make ourselves a mana pool. I kept thinking mana portal for some reason, and it just wasn't working. We do need to get ourselves a mana pool, which we'll get in a second once we get our first batch of living rock, which should be appearing any second now. All right. Harvest that. Let's throw down the stone again. So this guy's back. We can harvest this guy again. Get some more wool. That's super cool. I really like that. I really like that as a mechanic. Well, hopefully this guy doesn't die between now and when I want to use him. But anyway, let's go ahead and craft up a basic mana pool. Like so. And then I believe what we should be able to do here is just simply throw our Black Lotus into the mana pool, which should just generate a little bit of free mana. So let me just give this a try real quick. Does that? That doesn't work. I think it might have to have a little bit of mana in it already for this to work. And so I think what we're going to have to do here is just set up a very basic mana generation system. You know, craft up 1 ender flame, craft up 1 mana spreader, and then use that to put just a little bit of mana into the system, at which point I think that will indeed allow us to just throw the Black Lotuses in and produce just like a crazy amount of mana for us for free, which is going to be really nice. Yes, it will need a little bit of mana before it works. Cool. I thought so. So, throw this down. That's going to get us some living wood. Good stuff. I needed the living rock. What else did I need it for? To make, the runic altar, of course, which we'll get in a second. I'm almost certain that we're going to need a lot more flowers than what we have here. And so all I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go ahead and turn these into petals. And using the method that we've used before with the shears and the bone meal, I'm just going to get a ton of green petals just so we can make an absolute butt ton of floral fertilizer and then produce just even more flowers, right? Let's see about making our first mana spreader. Fairly easy stuff. 6 living wood, 1 gold, 1 petal of any description. We're going to use a green petal, like so. Give me a mana spreader. We need to get ourselves some form of mana generating flower. The easiest one for us to make, I think, is going to be the endo flame. And as I mentioned earlier, we are also going to use the endo flame in our setup later. And so 2 brown, 1 red, and then 1 light gray. So brown, red, and that's not red, and light gray. Craft those up. And then just like before with the, try that again. Just like before with the pure daisy, all we're going to do, we're going to get a bucket full of water. We're going to get ourselves 1 vanilla Minecraft seeds. Other seeds are available. And also make sure that you have your bucket on you as well at all times. It's going to make life a lot easier. Throw all those into the petal apothecary, and then we should be able to start generating mana from fuel through the endo flame. So boom, boom, 2 brown, 1 gray, 1 red, 1 seed. Nice, gets us an endo flame. Cool. So for now, we'll throw this down like right about here. We'll throw down a mana spreader like right about here. It's easiest to put the endo flame down after you put the mana spreader down, because that way it will automatically hook itself up to the mana spreader. These are now connected. And then if you throw down any kind of fuel next to the endo flame, it should take it There we go. You can see it's now getting like, it's got a little fire animation. It should take it, it should produce mana, send that mana through to the mana spreader. And now what we need to do is we need to point the mana spreader at the mana pool. To do that, we're going to have to make ourselves a Wand of the Forest. Thankfully, the Wand of the Forest is fairly easy to make as well. It's mostly just more of the living wood in the form of these living wood twigs. So let's go ahead and grab 3 of those. You can use whichever colors you like to make your Wand of the Forest. I'm going to go ahead and use, I was going to say red and gray, but we can use those to make more ender flames. So I'm going to go ahead and make ours green, like so. And then now, all we need to do, there are 2 modes of the Wand of the Forest. If you shift right-click, you can go between function mode and bind mode. We want bind mode because we want to bind this mana spreader to this mana pool, like so. And you'll see now, it's pumping the mana from the mana spreader into the mana pool. That mana originated, of course, in the Ender Flame. Now that there is mana in the mana pool, what we should be able to do is drop in our Black Lotuses, and dropping the Black Lotus in should produce more mana. So if I just go ahead and throw all 31 of these in here, you can see we now have significantly more mana in that mana pool ready for us to use, which is really nice indeed. It means we don't have to make a ton of endo flames, even though we are going to do that because we need it for the system. But it means we don't have to wait forever to produce a bunch of mana to get stuff done in the early game here, which is very nice indeed. The first thing we're going to do, of course, is turn our normal diamond here into a mana diamond. Very easily done by simply throwing the diamond into the mana pool, like so. We can then craft that up into our runic altar, which is then going to allow us to produce runes from Botania, which we do need in order to make the agri-carnations, the flowers from Botania, which when provided with mana will increase the growth speed of any plant or growth life around them. Specifically, we're going to use those for our saplings to make the trees grow even faster than they normally would. So let's see here. We need to get ourselves a runic altar, this guy right here. 1 mana diamond or mana pearl with some living rock, like so. And again, we are going to need another mana spreader for this. We could probably use the one we've already got, but as I mentioned before, we are going to need more than 1 mana spreader for the tree farm setup, so might as well go ahead and get a second one here. And essentially, the way that this works is you can throw down the runic altar anywhere you like, preferably near the mana pool, like so. Put down another mana spreader next to the mana pool. If it's adjacent to the mana pool, it will be able to pull the mana directly out of the mana pool. If we look here, you'll see this one's already full because it has pulled some mana out of that and is storing it in its spreader. And now, because it's pointing at the runic altar, it will send all of that mana. We could bind it if we wanted to, but it will send that mana to the runic altar to produce runes. For example, the agri-carnation. To make this, we need 2 lime petals, 1 green petal, 1 yellow petal, a redstone root, which is made by crafting together redstone and grass. Grass, by the way, for those who don't know, you can acquire by simply shearing grass, like so. That took me way too long to figure out when before I knew how to play the game. So just a quick heads up there for anyone who maybe doesn't know how that works. You can just shear the grass like so. I always used to click R and then see if there was a recipe, and I was like, oh, I need to get an alchemical catalyst, and it's a whole other thing. You can just shear it. It's easy to do. And then most importantly, we need a Rune of the Spring. The Rune of the Spring is a more complex rune. It requires 2 other runes to make it. Those 2 other runes being the Rune of Water and the Rune of Fire. The Rune of Fire made in the runic altar with 1 nether wart, 1 gunpowder, 1 nether brick, 1 mana steel, and then 1 mana powder. That is quite a lot of items, but if we grab all of those and put those onto the runic altar, we should be able to get this fairly easily. Now, I would like to get, I think, like 12 agri-carnations, which is quite a lot. It means I need 12 runes of the spring, which is also quite a lot. Now, thankfully, you get your runes back if you use the rune to make another rune. So, for example, making these runes of the spring after we've made the rune of the water and the rune of the fire is simply 3 saplings and a wheat and some mana. Like, once that's done, that's all it takes to make more of them. But the rune of the spring, when it's used to make the agri-carnation, is used up. You don't get the rune of the spring back. So, something to bear in mind there. I think we've got everything, actually. We just need to throw the iron ingot into the mana pool. That's going to get us the mana steel, like so. Throw in the gunpowder, like so. And then if we put all of those items onto our runic altar, like so, that should get us our first fire rune. And you'll know it's right because you'll see the rune there ready to be made, and you'll also see the mana spreader sending all of the mana through to the runic altar. And to finalize this process, you do have to have at least 1 block of living rock ready to go. And you'll see when that circle is fully formed, the little icon there with the wand and the living rock does come up. You throw down the living rock, you right-click with the Wand of the Forest, and you get 2 of the rune that you're trying to make. In this case, we got the fire rune. Next thing we need to make is the water rune. Same exact process, but this time we need fishing rod, sugarcane, and bone meal, all of which should really not be too hard for us to get. So let's do it. Nice. All right, give that a second. Thankfully, we've got quite a bit of mana, so it does get done quite quickly, which is nice. And then any second now, whilst we're waiting, I guess I'll go throw down some more stone because we might need more living rock throughout the course of today's stream. I'm not too sure, but just to be on the safe side, we'll start cooking some more up. This is done. So we'll just throw one of you down, like so, and kapow. Nice. So now, as I mentioned before, making the Rune of the Spring should be super easy for us here because these runes don't get used up in the making of the other rune, right? So all we really need to do is put down one Rune of the Water, one Rune of Fire. I'm going to put the other ones back in the system just to free up some inventory space. We then also need to get a bunch of saplings. I'm going to use the Dark Oak saplings just because we've got so many of them. And then also get a bunch of wheat. We've got 19. We can get more wheat fairly easily, so that's not too big of a deal. The only limiting factor here really is going to be how fast we can produce mana. Because, of course, these do take a fair bit of mana to produce, and so we probably will run out of mana before we get too many of these. Ideally, as I mentioned before, I'm looking to get 12 agri-carnations, which means we would need to get 12 of these Runes of the Spring, thus 12 lots of however much mana is used here, right? So whether or not we can make that work, I'm not sure, but I'll try. And you'll see there, we got the Fire Rune back, but we did lose, this chest full of chickens. We did get the Fire Rune back, but we did also lose the other items, which is to be expected. So I'm just going to drop these on the floor for now and go and empty my inventory a little bit to try and free up some more space. Let me think about this. If I wanted to make 12, that means I need 11 more. 11 times 3 is what, 33? So we got enough saplings. Oh no, yeah, that's right? Hold on. Rune of Spring. Yeah. Oh, no, we've got enough wheat as well. Nice. Okay, cool. So all we need to do, I do not wish to feed this to you, my friend. You are going to be sorely disappointed when I do not give you any of this wheat. 3 of you. Boom. And boom. Nice. Yeah, this should be fine. We should have enough wheat and enough saplings here to actually make this work. We don't have enough living rock, of course, to make that many, but that's why we are cooking more up over here. That is the final rune that we need here. There we go. So now we've finally managed to get ourselves 12 Runes of the Spring, and we're currently working towards getting all of the remaining petals that we need. All we need now is 3 more. Actually, we could just, we could just grow these, right? I'm being a fool. We can just turn these into petals, and then we don't actually need the flowers themselves. We just need the petal. So all we really need to do is get some bone meal, and then just grow this up and shear it, and we can make the petals very easily. We don't have to hope and pray that the floral fertilizer gives us the right one. As soon as you have one, you can just duplicate them using bone meal and shears, which is quite nice. And again, there's me pulling out one when I meant to pull out a stack. Let's try that again. Please give me a stack of bone meal. Thank you very much. How is our cart doing as well? Our cart has 1 minute and 22 seconds left, so that is almost done. I told you guys at the start of the stream that I was going to need like the full 57 minutes to get things ready for the cart, and I didn't think we would need to speed it up at all, but let's go ahead and craft all of these into petals. We need 24, so we will plant down a few more here. It's probably also a good idea to get a few more than we need, just so that, again, in the future, if we need them, we don't have to use the floral fertilizer. We can just go ahead and plant the ones that we have and make life a lot easier for ourselves. I will put that one extra yellow back in there, craft these up into petals, and then we need just a few more of you, which we can craft like so. Nice. Okay, so now we've got all of those. Let's go and grab 12 seeds real quick. We, of course, need 1 for every single agri-carnation. And then, again, just like with the runic altar, what we should be able to do here is double right-click to put the last recipe in, which, again, should make this much, much quicker than it normally would be. So lime petal, yellow petal, green petal, redstone root, and rune of the spring, I think, is everything that we need. It is. All right, let's go ahead and make 12 of these freaking agri-carnations over here. We do also need a bucket because we need to keep moving in the water every time. I'm still not quite sure if you can automate pumping of water into the petal apothecary. I get the feeling that you can't, but I could be wrong about that. Acceleration 1 on the cart maker, it works. Yeah, we tried it at the start of the stream. My point was that we didn't need, like, I need to do this stuff from Botania between now and when the cart's done. And so even though, I only need 2 of those, right? And so even though we can make the cart faster, there's no point because I can't do anything with the cart yet. But yeah, there we go, that works. So, bloop. And then all we need to do is fill it up, do that, double right click, drop. Okay. Let's see if we can get a little bit of automation going here. Shouldn't take us 2 minutes to get this done. But there we go. 12. Nice. So, now that that's done, chat, all we have to do now is do the same thing, but make 50,000 endo flames. Thankfully, the endo flames don't require any runes, and so it should be, hopefully, quite a bit faster. And then once that's done, I think we're pretty much done with Botania for the time being, and we can get on to the good stuff. So, let me see here. Again, I'm going to have to do a similar thing here. Get rid of some of this stuff. Which color do we need for endo flame? It's red, it's brown, and it's light gray. So let me get a ton of red, brown, and light gray petals, because the idea now is that we're going to use the charcoal from the tree farm to power the endo flames, thus powering the agri-carnations, thus giving us, you know, faster and more trees, more wood, more power, more, you know, speed for the agri-carnations to grow. It's a cycle that should continue essentially forever. And so to make that work, we're going to craft up, I think, about 25 endo flames. We might need more, potentially, but I'll start with 25 and we'll see where it goes, right? If we do need more, we can always go ahead and craft more. But 25 seems like a good number to start with.
6.5 hours later.
So, now that is done, now that we've got ourselves, hopefully, some way, we've got 26 endo flames. We also have 12 agri-carnations. We also have a mana pool. I'll probably make another mana pool just because I don't want to lose the mana in this mana pool. And we do already have... We can make more living rock quite easily. So that, I think, is all of the Botania really that I need to do, right? All we need to do now is actually put down the endo flames and set them up to actually power the agri-carnations. So, I think... perfect timing. I'm pretty sure that the cart assembler is done and the cart should be ready. It is indeed. Look at that. We have a modular cart with a reinforced hull, a coal engine, a hardened woodcutter currently at 100%, a top chest, and an advanced smelter. Nice. Let me quickly throw some things into the system here because we don't need to be carrying all of this stuff around with us, which is nice. Get rid of some of this stuff. We don't need the portal charm right now, even though I'm probably going to forget to pick that up ever again and thus maybe never use it, but that's fine. So... now, the next thing we need to do is get ourselves some rail, right? We need something that the cart can actually ride along. Thankfully, I'm fairly certain the track is pretty easy to make. I always forget in this game, Minecraft, whether or not it's rail or track that you need. Apparently, it's rail is what it's called. But we'll go ahead and we'll make like I'll make 3 stacks just to be on the safe side here. And I think my plan, I'm not going to do it in this room, but my plan is to have like an 11 by 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And then, so that's going to cycle around. We're going to have a tree farm about this size, right? It's not huge. It's not gigantic. And again, like I said, it's not going to be in here. We'll make a new room for it. But that's the idea. That's the general plan. And I think the easiest way for me to set up a new room for this to work is almost certainly going to be by using the builder. So let's go ahead and grab that real quick. Should be in here. And let's see if I can get this to work correctly. Also, what the heck is this? I can't select this? Inventory normal. A cyclic building scepter? I can't select it. I can't pull it out of my system. Oh no, I can. It's right there. What the heck is this? I'm worried. I'm scared of that. I'm going to put it back for now. I don't know where we got that from, but it scares me. So let me get rid of this freaking Enderman. And I think all I'm going to do is I'm going to build another room directly beneath the room that we have here, right? That's my plan right now. So let me get rid of this for the time being. I would like to keep the lantern, as the lantern is what is currently keeping the room lit. And essentially, I want to build a nice big room underneath this lantern. So you put down the builder. We need to get the shape card. Now let me see if memory serves me right here. So I want the room to be at least 11 by 11 wide. I probably want it to be a bit bigger. Let's make it like 15 by 15, right? How big is this room actually now that I think about it? So it's 9, 18. This is 19 by 19, this room. I might do the same downstairs actually. Let's make a 19 by 19 room. So X 19. Is this Y? That's Y. So Y doesn't need to be 19. Y can be like 15 and by 19. So this is the kind of room that we're going to dig out. Now I need to offset it, right? And I think all I want to do here is offset it by like negative 15, because if I'm not mistaken, the way that that works is it goes from the, like, by default, it centralizes itself on the builder. And so actually, I think it might be like negative 8, not negative 15. And that will dig the hole out directly beneath the builder, I think. To test it, we'll get rid of this here and I'll do a quick visualize. Yeah, it's right there. So I'm pretty sure that has been done correctly, I think. To make sure that it's been done correctly, let's not get rid of that. I'm just going to turn it on, I guess, but we do need to provide this thing with power first, of course. So let me quickly steal the flux plug, this guy over here. I should really just make another one or get a better system of transferring power, but for the time being, we'll grab this guy right here, the flux point, I believe it is. We'll throw that down onto our builder. Of course, quickly grab a lever to power it on, and that should fairly quickly, hopefully, dig us out a nice room for us to work in, and hopefully not spawn any mobs, ideally, but we'll see. So, boom, and, oh, I've done this the wrong way around. I'm a fool. Hold on. Boom. I'm always scared when I do this because I feel like I'm going to destroy more of my base again, but I think that's correct. It does tear through power. Thankfully, we are producing quite a bit of power, and this thing provides 4,000 redstone flux per tick into the system. And so, again, it is tearing through there, but I doubt it's going to use more than 8 million redstone flux for this to work, for this to dig out the room. But yeah, look at that. Oh, it's so quick. I love it. We do have the little tree farming area over here, right? I'm still using buildcraft pipes. I forgot. That's fine. I'll probably go ahead and make another lantern here. Another one of these feral flare lanterns just for the new room. Do we have one lying around? Feral? No, we don't. That's fine. They are not too difficult to make. Kapow. Am I missing glass or gold? Glowstone, really? I guess we've got all of our glowstone in non-block form. That's fine. Give me a feral flare lantern. Cool. We do not want any mobs spawning down here, even though one already has spawned down here. Hello, my friend. Welcome. Yeah, let's kill this guy. He's not going to get us. Goodbye, my friend. He is compressed, and thus does... Oh. Okay. So, we are still, do not forget, 0 deaths. We have yet to die on the server. That is not going to end today. Number of deaths, 0. Holy heck, look at that. Yet to die. What mod is the lantern from? I think it's from Torchmaster? Yeah, Torchmaster, which adds quite a lot of useful stuff, actually. It adds the torch placer, or the terrain lighter, which Nick showed off in Fullcraft 3. You can place it down. It'll automatically place torches at the correct distance to make sure that they continue to light everything up. But yeah, let's see here. So the middle of the room is like what, right there? I'm gonna, don't die by falling, Isaac. I'm gonna put the lantern probably like right about, I'll have to do some redecorating in this room, you know, because I don't just want to have stone walls here. But for now, I'll go ahead and I'll put it like right about there. That's fine. That should go ahead and slowly light up the room. If we press F7, you can see some of it's already lit up. Eventually, all the corners will be fully lit up and everything should be good to go. So that's dead center of the room. I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out. I think I want to be here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? Or do I want to be here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, middle? The idea here is that we have a modular cart. The modular cart we're going to throw down. This is a Steve's Cart's cart that has a coal engine, a woodcutter, a top chest, and an advanced smelter. So, what we need to do now is we need to go and grab some saplings as well as some dirt, because of course the cart does need to be able to place down the saplings onto some form of dirt where the trees are going to grow. So we'll take 70 dirt as well as a bunch of, I'll probably use oak saplings for the time being. Like that seems fine for now. We probably don't need to use any bigger trees. And then we're going to throw these down inside of the cart. You know, we'll put these down in here. This is where they're going, the wood cutting slot. I'm then going to replace pretty much the entire outer edge here with dirt. I think you only need to put them, you only really need to put them on the, on like every other block, but I'm going to go ahead and throw them down so that we can hopefully grow as many trees as possible. Okay, so there we go. I'm not quite sure if they can plant trees on both the inside and outside of the track. When I tested this, they only planted trees on the outside, so I'm not too sure. We do need some fuel. I can see myself. Do we have like a feather falling ring or something that we have? I thought we did because I could see myself dying to this feather ring. Amulet? I could have sworn we had some kind of is it this thing here? The air charm. I think this is the one we had. Like, do I take fall damage with this? Yes. Okay, never mind. So we'll just try not to die here, okay? We'll try not to die. So, put this back for now. I don't need it just yet. Give me some coal so we can actually fuel our cart. That cart should then begin to put down all of the saplings that we've put into it. So, give this guy some fuel just to kickstart the system, right? You'll see it's placing down the saplings like so. For now, we're going to go ahead and bone meal these up, because the cart doesn't have any more saplings yet. It needs to get its stock of saplings up. So we will kickstart the system by bone mealing these guys up. I would then like to... We might need less agri-carnations than I made, actually. But I'm thinking that we'll do something like this. I'm going to try and put down... Yeah, so like my idea here is we want to have these agri-carnations placed around to help increase the speed at which the trees grow, right? So we're going to put them down like so that the trees in the nearby area will grow faster. That's 4. I think in my testing world, I put them in the corners as well. I'm thinking what I might do here, actually, is put them down like this, because I kind of want to keep the corners free for a reason that will become apparent pretty soon. But we're going to try and throw down all 12 of these agri-carnations, which we may or may not be able to provide enough mana for all of these to work at max efficiency. I'm not quite sure. Like with Botania, there are no hard numbers, at least not available in game. So I'm not quite sure how many like endo flames we would need to be powering full time in order to keep 12 agri-carnations working full time. But this is working. This is all set up and ready to go. Almost. It's going to slowly but surely get more and more saplings. Again, we can kind of kickstart this process a little bit by putting down more of these. You can look at that. The leaf generator is working through the floor. That's crazy. You see that? That leaf generator right there was harvesting those leaves through the floor there. That's insane. That's a sneak peek as to what's coming later on down the line. Just you wait. But this is the reason why the room's so tall, by the way. We needed to make room for these gigantic trees that you get every now and again. But, oh my goodness, they're all massive trees. It's crazy. But yeah, this guy's going to go around and he's going to collect all of these. Inside of the cart here, what we want to do is we want to select here, change the output location. We are going to right-click. You can left-click to go forward, right-click to go backwards. If you right-click by 2, you get the coal engine. I'm going to say turn all of the coal, so infinite. It means it will turn all of the wood into charcoal and put this into the engine. That's what it's going to do. It's going to take any wood that it has, it's going to turn it into charcoal using the advanced smelter, and then put it in the coal engine. And so now we can actually take our coal out. This should be self-sustaining. It should get enough wood from cutting down trees to produce enough charcoal to keep itself going forever. So essentially, this should never run out of fuel now. It should run forever, and should also really continue to get saplings as well. I don't think we're going to run out of saplings with this either, which is nice. We might start to run into issues with saplings if our leaf generators are too good and they get rid of too many leaves, at which point we might have to pump in external saplings from like a bonsai pot to keep the system working. But for the time being, this is working just fine. So the next stage of the process, chat, is to go ahead and get ourselves a mana pool, which I'm going to put down like right about here where the dirt is. That mana pool is, of course, going to store all of the mana that is then going to be used by the agri-carnations. So let's go quickly grab the living rock. Did we put down some stone over there? We did. Nice. Let's go grab the living rock and let's make ourselves another mana pool. Again, we could use this one, but I don't want to waste the mana that's in it. Let's also grab these mana spreaders, and I think we might want to get like 2 more as well to get us to 4 mana spreaders. Again, I'm not quite sure what the exact ratio is of how many endo flames 1 mana spreader can handle, but I get the feeling that 4 should be about right, he says, with no hard evidence to back that up whatsoever, but I get the feeling that 4 should be right, and also 4 fits quite nicely into making our setup symmetrical. So I will go ahead and craft 2 more of those by quickly throwing down some more wood around our pure daisy. Fertilized dirt will make the trees grow faster. Really? I'm definitely intrigued to see if that works, because well, I believe you that it works, but we'll definitely set that up, because We're really trying to get these trees to grow as fast as possible. So there we go. That's going to produce all of those ender flames. Again, I'm going to pick them all up. I know I've just put them all down, but I'm going to pick them up for one reason and one reason only, and that is because I do not want to have to manually link them all to the mana spreaders. As I mentioned earlier, if you place the mana spreaders down first, they will automatically link to the mana spreaders, whereas if you place the mana spreaders down after you put down the ender flames, you have to manually link every single ender flame to its respective mana spreader, which can be quite tedious. So let me go grab our living wood so we can make our final mana spreader here real quick, taking all of that mana from the ender flames into the mana pool so that our agri-carnations can work just at all. They can just work. Do we have, let me get my pouch out again. Do we have any petals lying around? We do. Nice. Okay, give me a mana spreader, would you, Gim? Nice. Okay. All right. Final mana spreader acquired. Let's throw that guy down right about there. And then now we can get rid of all of these and put down all those ender flames again. I'm not quite sure how the linking system works. I think the ender flames will connect to the mana spreader that's closest. Like this one is connected to that one, but if I put one here, it's connected to that one. Okay, so I think these should do a pretty good job of like spreading themselves out, connecting to the closest mana spreader and making sure that approximately in the same amount are connected to each individual mana spreader. We then want all of these connected to the mana pool, like so. And then, because we put down the agri-carnations before we put down the mana pool, they're not connected. If I was to pick this guy up and put it back down, it is connected to the mana pool. So, I think the easiest thing for me to do here is probably going to be just to pick these all up and put them back down. If we wanted to, what we could... That's not what I want to do. If we wanted to, what we could also do is... please give me that ender flame. Thank you. What we could do, if we wanted to, is just shift right-click and shift right-click to bind them like that. That also might be quicker. I'm not too sure. But we can do that, and those will all start to receive mana, and thus begin increasing the speed at which all of the trees grow. As soon as they do get mana. Right now, there's no fuel on the ender flames, and so nothing is happening. But all of those are connected up. We are going to have to get some kind of like hopper or vacuum hopper or advanced item collector maybe to collect all of the excess saplings and apples that are just thrown down all over the place. So I think this is almost complete. The next thing we need to do is we need to set up a system that automatically puts charcoal onto the ender flames, right? And for that, we're going to have to use a dropper of some description. I think for our purposes, I think a vanilla Minecraft dropper will do the trick just fine. We would then like some kind of timer or redstone clock. Either would work. I'll use the timer from Dark Utilities. It's not particularly difficult to craft and allows us to send out a redstone signal on pulse because we don't want to be dropping too much charcoal onto the ender flames. We want to kind of stagger it just a little bit to make sure that there's not just a ton of charcoal lagging things up. And then after that, we also need to get ourselves some item conduits. We've got 4. I think we should have what it takes to make some more of those item conduits, if I'm not mistaken. Do I have more? I do. Nice. So 20 should be more than enough. So we're going to pull those out. We also need to get ourselves a cargo manager. We might even end up making 2 of these. This thing, again, is not particularly hard to make. It's just got a bit of a tedious crafting recipe requiring quite a few of these iron pins, which require yet more of those chest pins that we made earlier for our Steve's cart. So let's just make a ton of iron pins. They are indeed quite a bit of a pain to make, but that's fine. We need 4 of the larger ones. We then need 4 of the medium-sized ones, which are also called large and huge. And then we need 1 large dynamic pin, which does require 4 of those crafted with a redstone, like so. And that should get us a cargo manager. Maybe. Nice. Okay, so what we're going to do with this guy, we also actually, before I go away, going back to at Steve's carts, we also need to get a detector rail, an advanced detector rail, this guy right here, which again isn't too hard to make. It's just some iron, some redstone, and 2 singular stone pressure plates. Give me those. And so the way that this works is when the cart travels over the advanced detector rail, if it's next to a cargo manager, it will stop and then do whatever we taught to do in the cargo manager. For example, if I was to put one down right about here, we put down the cargo manager, like so. The blue side is the side that you'll see it stops there and tries to do things. The blue side is the side that the cart's on. So inside of the cargo manager here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and on the blue side, we're going to set this to engine, and I want to pull I want to change that around. I want the arrow coming from the engine into the cart manager, into the cargo manager. And so what should happen here, I believe, when the cart gets back around again, is it should pull all of the charcoal out of the engine and into the cargo manager, I believe. I'm going to cut this tree down just to speed this up, to get this guy moving. Hopefully he gets back around and no other trees get in his way. But ideally, we've set that to the blue side, so he should stop. And there we go, look at that. He's emptying out his coal engine. Again, we've got enough wood in there to keep the coal engine going. And so he's going to continue off doing his thing. And now we have got an excess of coal. And again, this guy is cutting down so many trees that he should always perpetually have enough coal in his engine for this to keep working. Now, we want to take the cargo, the coal, out of the cargo manager and then drop it onto these endo flames. Right? We want to drop it so that these guys can actually access that stuff. And I think for now, it's a little awkward, and I might put another one down to try and make it symmetrical in the future, but I think for now what I'm going to do is probably something not like that. Something like, yeah, I guess we could put it like right there. So get rid of this, get rid of this, put the dropper pointing downwards, like so. I might put another cargo manager in the other corner and have another dropper here just for symmetry more than anything else. And so we're going to then come up out of here. And this bit is a little less than symmetrical. Again, we could do something like this and have multiple... I guess we could do something like this, right? Just to make it a little bit more symmetrical. I'm a sucker for symmetry. And when things are not symmetrical, it saddens me. So I might, for no other reason than to make it more symmetrical, do something like this. Yeah, this is very much so unnecessary, but is symmetrical. And if we put another one on this side, that will become symmetrical with the whole thing. So we're going to extract out of here on the green channel. That's fine. We want to extract without signal. And then on this side, we're going to go ahead and insert. We don't need to do the same thing on this side. In fairness, this could be disabled because really we just want to get that charcoal into here. And then we're going to place the timer on top. We'll set that to, so like 20 ticks is 1 second. So if we set it to 40 ticks, that would drop every 2 seconds, which might be too slow, honestly. We might want it faster than that. I'm not quite sure. But that's going to drop the charcoal down onto the endo flames. Those endo flames are going to then, of course, suck that up, provide power, provide mana to the mana pool. That mana pool is then, of course, providing that mana to the agri-carnations. Those agri-carnations, you can see already, we're getting so many more trees now than we were before. There were a ton of trees all over the place. And now, the final piece of the puzzle, chat, we need to get a metric butt ton, and by that I mean like maybe 5 leaf-eating generators so that we can eat as many leaves as possible, right? So each leaf-eating generator does require these empowered Restonia crystals. Thankfully, we do have quite a few of those left over from before. We might have to make another block, actually, but for the most part, we should be able to get a few of these up and running here. So leaves we've got, advanced coils we may or may not have, actually. I'll try and make a few more here just in case we don't. Give me a bunch of golden nuggets. Give me a bunch of advanced coils. And then give me some leaf-eating generators. We got 3 more, so that takes us to a total of 4. I think what I'm going to do here, just to kind of stay in theme, is we'll take an energy cell, a basic one. I think I'll upgrade it to a hardened energy cell, just because it's really easy to do. You know, we just need one of the hardened upgrade kits, which we might already have in the system. We don't, but that's fine. They are fairly easy to make. These guys right here. Give me one of those. After I get, of course, a bronze gear, which hopefully we got bronze. We do. Nice. Good stuff. Take one of those. So, chat, this is where it all finally comes together. Everything slots into place. What we're going to do, we're going to bring this up a few blocks here. We're going to place down our energy cell. We're going to upgrade that energy cell to a higher tier of energy cell. We're going to set every side, I think, apart from the bottom, to an input. So input, 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 and output, like so. Get rid of this dirt here. And then we're essentially going to surround this guy with leaf-eating generators. And those leaf-eating generators are going to gloriously fire in all directions, consuming the leaves and producing redstone flux. Chat, is that not one of the most beautiful power generation systems that you have ever seen in your entire lives. It definitely is for me. Look at that. Look at that. That's a power generation system right there if I've ever seen one. So seems like an FPS killer. It's fine. It's not a problem. We've got enough frames in the top left there to keep us going. And leaves no saplings for more trees. I did mention before that if the leaf-eating generators do only have a range of 7 blocks, and so they can't quite get all of the saplings, I don't think. If we do end up in a situation where we don't have enough saplings to keep the system going, like if the system does run out of saplings, what I will probably do is start pulling saplings from these bonsai pots, start extracting the excess saplings. So we might have to artificially pump saplings into the system to keep it going, but it should work, and it is going to produce quite a bit of power. I do want to get one more leaf-eating generator on here so we can get the system, symmetrical, again, like I mentioned before. Also, I think we are going to have a cargo manager that pulls out apples, just because eventually we, of course, are going to fill in this top chest with apples. Like, it is going to fill up completely. It might also not be a bad idea to get a second cart and have it going around simultaneously, because the trees do grow so fast, and the limiting factor right now really I love it. And the limiting factor is the speed at which the cart can cut down all of the wood. It's quite slow, but this definitely seems to be working. We might even be gaining excess mana. Yeah, we totally are. We're not using anywhere near like the full amount of mana being generated by our endo flames here, and you can see we're also backing up with charcoal as well, and so we are just producing all kinds of stuff. I did mention, Ninja, earlier that we do need to get an advanced items collector to collect all the excess apples and saplings, and so we will go ahead and do that right about now. Advanced item collector. That should allow us to pick up all of the excess gunk that just fills up on the floor, because for some reason some leaves decay. I guess it's because if the cart gets to a tree before the leaf-eating generators tear them apart, then some of the leaves will decay kind of naturally. But we'll take this. For now, we could just put it in a chest, I guess. Again, ideally, we'll pump that into some kind of storage drawer, or maybe even just like a trash can at some point in the future. But for now, where do I want to put this as well? Because I kind of want to have full health and not die. But I want to have a flux plug on the bottom so we can pull that power out and add it to the system. I guess then beneath that, so that's where the flux plug is going to be. I guess we could just have like a chest beneath that, like that, and then have like an advanced item collector. The important thing here is that we do need to filter the collection of items, because we don't want our coal being picked up as well. We want to make sure the coal stays where it is. So filter, I think it is. We want to get one of these right here, one of these item filters from random things. Fairly easy to make if you happen to have some dandelions, which thankfully we do. We actually have just the right amount of dandelions as well, which is very nice. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to blacklist charcoal. Anything that's not charcoal can be picked up. It's only the charcoal that we want to stay on the floor. So we're going to throw down this guy. We're going to put in the item filter. Already it probably has some, if we get rid of the dirt actually, already it probably has some charcoal in there, it does, but now it should not pick up any more charcoal. And then we're just going to bump up the radius here on the X and the Z. And so hopefully that should pick up most of the stuff that is dropped onto the floor around this area. And guys, that's my, oh, don't crash. I got worried for a second there. I thought the game was just gonna, as I was about to say, guys, that is my leaf-eating power generation system. I thought the game was just about to crash and just laugh at me because the system is crazy. But look at the lasers. Look at how many lasers are coming off of that leaf-eating generator there. I love it. I absolutely love it. I am going to very quickly here get another block of Restonia crystal and empower it, just so that we can fully finish this off. I don't want to leave a job half done. So that's yellow. Yellow, I want to go in. I want to pull from... I want to pull... I don't know what I want to pull, actually. Storage slots, I think, is what I want to pull from. And so as that goes around, it is going to pull wood out as well. What we could do, maybe, is like... because this... When it gets here, it's going to pull out all the wood as well. Excuse me? Oh, when it gets here, I guess it's going to pull the wood out. I was going to say what we could do is we could have this green side pump the wood back in, right? Like if we had if we take the apples out of the cargo manager fast enough, we can then have the apples come out here with the wood and then pump the wood back in on this side so that we can, oh, the detector rail, of course. Yeah, that's the problem. Like that. So yeah, like we could have that, pull all the apples and the wood out, and then here have it go green, go also into a chest, but then pull from the cargo manager into the chest, putting all the wood back in. It's unnecessary. Again, we could just store the wood because it's getting more than enough wood to keep the coal engine going, which is really all that matters. And so even despite the fact that we're tearing all the leaves down and using all the wood to keep the cart going, it is still producing an excess of wood, giving us the byproduct of apples, and overall just working quite nicely. And I love it. All right, I think our empowered Westonia block should be about done. It is. Let's grab this guy and then craft those up, of course. That should allow us to make our leaf-eating generator. We probably don't need this many leaf-eating generators either, but I just think they look cooler when there are more of them, when they all like simultaneously go and just tear a tree apart. Like they burn through the trees so incredibly quickly. It's incredible to watch. And so we will throw this guy down right about there. And that's that. That's our tree farm, chat. That is the tree farm that I had envisioned in my mind. Look at that. They go to town, tearing a tree apart, ripping all the leaves. So many lasers, so many lights, a reasonable amount of power, and excess mana, which I'm quite surprised at as well. I really thought that we would not have excess mana or excess charcoal, both of which we seem to be obtaining slowly but surely. So we could even put that mana to some other use later on down the line, or if we really wanted to, we could put down more agri-carnations. But of course, at that point, we'd just have a lot of oakwood logs lying around because the cart can't cut down the trees fast enough. But guys, with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's stream there.